Okay, we have a 1969 Cadillac Coupe de Ville for sale. This is my dad's car. He has owned it since about 2000. So it's been around in our family for 21 years. He bought it off some people who just had it parked in the garage and they just drove it to car shows once in a while. And then my dad's a contractor, so this wasn't his work truck. He kind of drove it on weekends, so it hasn't seen a whole lot of miles. But age kills a car just as bad as miles does, if not worse. So we'll go over that here in a second. It's not the original paint. The people he bought it off of had it painted. I think if you pop the hood, you can see some paint lines where they changed it to, it was white car originally, but they kind of changed it to a slightly happier white. The original paint was kind of grayish, looking like a grayish white, but they picked a pretty nice color actually. Anyways, the big downfall to this is it's developed some rust over the years, and it was actually starting to get these spots when my dad bought it 20 years ago. You can see there's rust on the hood, and interestingly enough, that's the only spot of rust on the hood. The rest of the hood is really nice. Show other spot of rust here. This is probably a pretty common area. Down here at the front corner of the fender. Little bubbly spot. And I remember seeing those bubbles when my dad first bought it a long time ago. Something brewing under there, but it hasn't. We live in a spot where cars don't rust all that bad. So it hasn't gotten a whole lot worse the whole time he's had it. There's a little bit there. Bottom corner there looks pretty good. The trunk, it's got something brewing here on the bottom. Bottom edge down by the bumper, but the rest of it, once again, looks pretty good. Now, this thing's got a vinyl top, which my dad actually had replaced about 10 years ago. And when he did that, it was doing this. It was kind of rusty. So he pulled the vinyl top off, fixed the rust, repainted it. And well, he hasn't had a garage to park it in, so here we go. It's right back where this is about what it looked like when he pulled the top off and had it redone. And you can see some little bubbles underneath the top. So it would probably be a good idea if this thing just lost the vinyl top, and you could go with a two-tone paint job if that's what you really turned you on, but it looks like the vinyl top is just a problem. Or fix it and park it in a garage like smart people do. Would be the way to go. See? So this car does clean up pretty nice. But I didn't do anything to try to hide the rust issues that it does have. So somebody could see what they're getting into. The interior used to be amazing on this car. It's complete, it's all there, and almost everything works. There's a little kick panel right here, and behind that was where the relay for the power windows is. And that wasn't working anymore, but you can put a jumper wire on it and bypass that relay, and then voila, the power windows work again. I remember when my dad did the top, he had a new headliner put in it. Let's see if I can. That still looks really nice. The back seat there, the sun just did a number on the top of it. It just killed the vinyl. Pretty good, actually. But you know, it's complete. All the seat belts work. Tilting, telescoping steering wheel works. I'll have to do this. Set the parking brake, because that's part of a neat thing on this Cadillac here. Kind of trick. So it's got the 472 V8. Take a look at that here. That is we never pulled it or messed with it. It just ran the whole time. It did sit for a while with a car cover on it, and some rats built a nest right on top of the air cleaner there, and they peed all over it, and that's why it looks so funky now. But I did pull it apart, clean it up. I had to rebuild the carburetor. It's got the original carburetor, and I got all the parts to do that from a place called, I think it's QuadrajetParts.com. They're really resourceful. I was able to completely rebuild that thing, and it works great now. Had to do new plugs and plug wires, and a electronic ignition points replacement in there, and a aftermarket coil to get it running again. Also had to do new battery cables. Those were completely messed up. The other thing we had to do to get it going again is we had to completely go through the brakes. Master cylinder, front disc brakes. The calipers are kind of hard to find, so we just rebuilt them and put new pads. The rotors looked great. On the back, one of the wheel cylinders was leaking, so we replaced both the wheel cylinders, put new shoes on it, and new hardware. And the brakes work amazing now. We also put new rubber hydraulic lines on the brakes, both front and rear. See, my dad put new tires on it. These are Coopers, I believe. Yeah, Cooper Trendsetters. Good for you guys. Trendsetters you are. Anyways, it's a runner. We'll fire it up and take it for a spin. It's not completely cold, so it's not, you don't get to see what it starts. I did have to start it up and get it out here where I could do this video. But we'll fire it up. It's got the choke actually works great, but if you know these old cars, you gotta hit the gas pedal a few times and set the choke when it's cold. And then sometimes you gotta hit the gas pedal a few times to turn the choke off. And after that, once it's warmed up, it runs really good actually. We also changed the oil and tranny fluid. It's been sitting for quite a while. Anyways, I'm gonna take this for a little spin around the neighborhood here. It does have a little bit of an exhaust leak. One of the manifolds is missing a bolt or two, and you actually can't fix it unless you either pull the engine or pull the head off. And that's not something that's very fun to do. I figured I'd let whoever buys it do that if they want to. This vehicle, I believe, is a great candidate for, you can go either way with this. It's got some rust, my dad was always a stickler for leaving it completely original. So it would be a great car to restore, because nobody's messed with anything on this. It's pretty much everything is completely stock. But because it does have rust, and someone's gonna, cut into it and do some rust patch panels and stuff like that, that you could also, have fun with it, chop it up, customize it if you wanted to. You kind of go either way with it. Anyways, here's the thing I was talking about. It's cool little Cadillac e-brake thing. It's vacuum operated, and it releases itself when you put it into gear. So if you get in there, if you get into a Cadillac and you can't find the e-brake release, that's why. You just put your foot on the brake and boom, went into drive and it pops right out. Okay, gonna go for a little spin here, and you'll probably hear that exhaust leak I was talking about, but other than that, this thing runs pretty good. I'm actually really surprised for how long it sat. I've been driving around our neighborhood for about, 2 weeks now, just to see what else might present itself as a problem, but haven't had any additional things go wrong with it. So it's in pretty good shape. See, we're in California, got pretty close to the Bay Area, and if you bought it and you're close by, you could drive it home, but I wouldn't. I don't know if I'd drive it across country though. It seems to happen in the cars, the older cars. If they've been sitting for a while, something always happens, like the heater core pops or something, then all of a sudden you got a major coolant leak. I don't know if it does run. It runs pretty good. It'll probably get you pretty good distance. But the safest bet is to put it on a trailer and take it home and play with it. Anyways, back this up here. Okay, there we go. Set the e-brake again. I can walk around it with that. So one of the other things you had to do on this thing is put a new muffler on it. It's when the carburetor went bad, it was just dumping gas into the intake manifold, and it all landed in the muffler and exploded. The thing looked like an M80 that somebody blew up. There's the two missing exhaust manifold bolts right there on the back cylinder there. It would be a pretty quiet running car without that, but anyways, there it is. Thanks for looking.